Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today on the Divine Messages podcast. My name is Karina, and I am a psychic medium out of Calgary, Alberta. I have one of my very special clients coming on here with me today. I met her in Saskatoon a few years ago, and I am so excited to share her journey with all of you. So, everyone, please help me welcome Bree to the podcast. Hi, Bree. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Excited to be here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy, happy, happy that you are here with me today because I feel so close to you, even though I've only met you, say, a handful of times. But I
Oh,
love your family, and I've had the honor to channel a very close loved one for you. And we just kind of built a level of trust, I would say.
oh, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that because too, the first time I met you, I remember I almost felt like I could see your aura around you. Like you were like such a bright light, and like I was just completely drawn to you. And I'm like, she is an amazing person. Like
Ah.
yeah, every time I get to talk to you or I see you, I get so excited because I just think you're wonderful. So,
Oh, well, I feel the same about you. You're one of my favorite clients that I have. And I'm
oh,
just, every time I get to see you, I just feel the same way. I feel very happy and excited and just positive. And that's infectious, right? I really love being around people that just make me feel good. So that's how it is. Now,
yeah, the best.
let's uh let's take everybody back in time, I guess, to how we met because that was, I don't know, 3 years ago, is it?
Yeah, so I actually went back in my calendar to kind of figure that out. So we actually met in March of 2023. And I remember it was the first time was at the bunkhouse just outside of Saskatoon. And at that time, my mom, we were kind of going through a lot of medical challenges, and this was right before, a couple months before she passed. And so I went to a group reading. I think there was about 20 of us there. And I mean, honestly, every single thing that you said in that reading was so amazing and spot on, and I'll never forget. And I don't know if I'm going to get the details specifically right on this or not, but there was a a girl and her dad there, and she had lost her mom and his wife, and you were talking to them, and I'll never forget what you said because it was so cool. You were walking through their house and you said it's your house, but it's your mom's house. So, and she said, well, she actually bought the house.
Oh,
And yeah, and so then as you were going through, you were just mentioning like very specific details about, oh, there's this table here. Why is that table there? It's so out of place. And then you stopped and you said something about how your mom is so happy that you painted her bedroom and that you should go ahead with the bathroom renovation. And I remember the look on her face, like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that. Because I think oftentimes when we don't have our loved ones here, but like we all know that they're around us, we talk to them and we ask for advice and opinions and things like that, right? But she definitely needed to hear that like it was okay to proceed with all the plans she had because I think she, felt like she was probably still living in her mom's house and wanted to respect her, right? So
right.
it was really cool. And then another part to that too, she had a small child and you would walk through his room and said, "Oh my gosh, I think it was dinosaurs." And you would mention the color of the room and then specific artwork on the walls in the hallway that the child had drawn. And so it was really neat, like hearing how you kind of teleport yourself into these spaces, which is so cool because I don't know if that's the word that you would use,
Yeah,
but
I
I
use
mean,
that word. Yeah, teleport
yeah.
for sure.
And like a couple other readings during that, you had said about how there was like a house and then but another house and then it was a different building and it ended up somebody had purchased land with like a old schoolhouse next to their home and just like details like that that were so specific that were so cool. And I've been to mediums before, but I've never met somebody who has that, specific ability to do that. So, I
Oh,
mean, I thought that was amazing.
wow. I do say that we all see things very differently as mediums. And for some reason, which I'll never understand why, I can't hear names very clearly, but I can go into people's houses and properties. And it's just so clear to me. I travel all over the world in my mind every single day, and I can feel around and I will run into a piece of furniture. I can tell if it's, linoleum or wood flooring. Like it's really weird to me, but it's my favorite thing to do because it is so clear and I feel like I get to be a part of people's world by going back in time to their house from the 50s, 60s, 70s, right to their house today. It's pretty crazy.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all know there's lots of skeptics out there, especially when people have gone to uh, see folks that are really not legitimate, right? And so
Yeah.
it, you get a bad rap, but I mean, there's so many people that have such amazing gifts, and it's so obvious. Like, there's no way you can fake that. Like, there's 0% chance. Like the details that and I mean, just in all the readings that I've been to, it's incredible to see. And it's so obvious how you impact other people too through those readings and help them along in their journey of healing because I think I mean, I know for myself I really needed that. Um, and at that reading, actually, you had brought up someone who, and at first I thought you were talking about somebody that passed, but you had mentioned actually very specific details about my mom's illness and kind of where things were at. Um, and so then, I kind of realized, oh, you might be talking about her. And so we kind of chatted after, and I was, everything was kind of happening all at once. Everything really declined quickly for my mom, and we were kind of in shock and not really knowing what to do. And she was currently in the hospital when I went to that reading. And one of the things I was really struggling with, because obviously, I wanted to be there for her and support her. And my husband and I had actually booked a trip to go to Vegas to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're my absolute favorite band.
Love them. Yes.
And yes, right? I know they're
Yes.
so good.
So good.
And so I was really struggling because I was supposed to leave in it would have been, I think, 4 or 5 days. And I was like, okay, do I stay here? I knew my mom was going to be in the hospital the whole time I was gone. We hadn't really had a family meeting yet to really hear how bad things got. So we were kind of in limbo. She was telling me to go. My heart was telling me to stay. But I knew deep down, like, she would want me to go. And, I just really struggled with making that choice. So I kind of pulled you aside after. I was like, can I just ask you one question?
Yeah.
And you said, absolutely. And I said, I'm supposed to go to Vegas. Should I go? And you were like, yes, like 100% yes. Like you
Oh,
stopped and it was
wow.
like you were almost asking a question, right? To maybe my angels or spirit guides or whoever it was, but you were like, yes, for sure. And so the long story short, I ended up conceiving in Vegas our daughter. And so
Oh.
I kind of feel like had I not kind of got that like permission and go ahead, I probably wouldn't have gone. I probably, you never know what would have happened, but because I was able to go, like, so my mom passed in June, on June 24th of that same year, so just a couple months after, but I was able to tell her on Mother's Day that I was pregnant.
Oh, my goodness, I have goosebumps everywhere.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where her and I had such a close relationship. We were best friends. I could not wait to see her with my children. And so
Yeah.
even just to be able to tell her, like, hey, I'm pregnant and see that reaction and have it on video so I can show my daughter later,
Oh,
you
that's
know?
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like tearing it up here as you're telling me. It's just, that's beautiful. That's a
Yeah, it
gift.
was
Yeah.
absolutely. So I was really appreciative because I know that I wouldn't have gone. Like, there's no way. If I hadn't met you and you hadn't said yes, do that, there's no way I would have left. And you know, it
Wow.
it ended up giving me one of the most beautiful gifts in life, but also that beautiful moment with my mom, right? So,
That's amazing. I love how spirit works
yeah.
in mysterious ways, and there's always a reason for everything, even though we don't always understand it. I think sometimes things happen and we just, shake our heads later going, I can't believe that happened the way that it did, but what a gift, right?
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it was incredible. And then actually the next time, so when I saw you was in November of that year, again at Brittany's at the bunkhouse, but that was after she had that terrible fire. And so we ended up doing the group reading in her living room.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, and my friend was there, Crystal, bless her heart, for writing down all of the details for everybody that was there.
Oh my goodness.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, because it's one of those things where you get a reading and you're so into it and it's so emotional, and that's one piece of advice I would give to people is if you can't make notes, get somebody else to because there's
That's a
so much you forget.
good point. Yes. And your mom
Yeah.
came through in that reading really was it the first time that she had come through then?
Yep. Yeah. And it was actually so every single other person had somebody come through and it was kind of nearing the end. And you had asked everybody, like, do you have any questions for anybody? And I was like, hey, is my mom gonna pop in here at any point? Because I was kind of like, okay, really hopeful. And and then you started giggling and you like said it almost in the exact words that she would use, which were like, "Oh, silly, like of course I was gonna come, but I needed everybody else to take a turn first," which is totally her personality. Like
Aw,
she would 100% do that.
so sweet. And did she
Hmm.
like validate? I really don't remember any of that reading, but did she validate your baby or what really happened?
Yeah, so she was really, really excited. So her name actually, my mom's name was Judy. So we actually, our daughter's middle name is Judy. And so she had told you, like, I know about the name and I'm thrilled. And she said that she keeps hearing me because one of the things that I always said was like, when I have a baby, my husband and my mom are going to be the ones in the delivery room. Like, that's who I want there. Like, it's so important to me. And you said to me, like, she keeps hearing you say over and over to people that you're so sad that she's not going to be in the delivery room, but she'll be there and she actually has the energy to help you. Like, she will be there holding your hand, guiding you through the whole thing, which, later, I mean, I had the most incredible delivery experience.
Wow.
I, yeah, I was so lucky. I felt that she was there the whole time. Like I can't even like, and I mean, I have tons of friends that have babies and they're all just like, be quiet. Like there's
Yeah.
no way. And I'm like, I know. Like nobody has an amazing, it's rare that you are
It
like,
is very
oh,
rare.
the delivery of my baby was incredible
Right.
and magical. But I kept saying to the nurses, like, this is magic. Like, I love
Oh
this. And
gosh.
yeah,
Lucky.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. Well, the next day after I had my daughter, there was a person screaming in the room next to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And they're like, that person's having a very different experience than you. I'm like,
Oh,
oh, okay.
jeez.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
was lucky, but I credit a lot of that to my mom because I do feel like she was really there and trying to help as much as she could.
she definitely was.
Yeah, for sure. And she also had said, because I had just had my baby shower too, so she had said that she got like she got to see some of the things that I got, and she had mentioned like specifically me folding a bunch of clothes like in tiny little ways and stacking them. And I had just actually done that the night before I was in the baby room, just folding things up. And I had bought, these inserts to keep it all organized by month and everything.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
yeah. So,
I'm glad she got to see all of that. And that's what I say to everyone is that when our loved ones pass, they see everything, all the things that we think that they're missing, they're not. They're actually more involved on the other side than they could be here,
hmm
as
I
hard
believe
as
that
that is.
completely.
Hmm.
I always say, like, I selfishly want her physically here, but yeah, I know that she's getting to see a lot more, you
Yeah.
know? So,
And be there every step of the way. And I know she is. And
mhm.
and then I know that that really helped you that day to have that the reassurance, I suppose, that she was there. And even then after that, I think you ended up coming. Did you come for a private session after that? Because I can't remember now. I think you might have.
We did a phone reading, just you and I actually.
Yeah, I thought we did. Was that
Hmm.
after
Yeah.
your
So,
daughter was born then, or?
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So it was in March actually of 2024 that we had a phone reading because I just felt like, okay, if she's here, I really need to hear what my mom has to say. Like, am I doing a good job? All of the questions of like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, am I doing this right? And yeah, it was amazing because she like immediately came through. Like we got on the phone and you were like, okay, she's here and she has a lot to say. And we're gonna try to get through as much as we can because she has lots of messages. She wants to kind of prove that she's been there. And honestly, that reading like completely blew my mind in so many ways. Like little things that you brought up that were so on point. Like, for example, we have, a diaper genie.
Yeah.
Um, and we actually got another one from a friend of mine. She said, "Oh, do you want another one?" And we were like, "Oh, perfect. Sounds good. Might as well have a second one for the other level of our house, and it'll make things easy." But then we hadn't really used it yet, and we were kind of thinking, well, maybe we'll put it outside when we're swimming, and like, we can just use that there. So it was March, right? So we're obviously not swimming yet. So um, you had brought that up. You said you have two diaper jeans. You're not using one. Like, why? Like, she's like, why are there two of these things here? And I think my mom was kind of laughing at that. And then um, one of the other things that I thought was really, really cool was so we had like a little nest for our daughter, and it's basically just like this flat pillow with like the center kind of indented so that when they're really little they can lay next to you and be kind of cozy. And so my husband and I would often, when she would fall asleep, we would put her next to me, and then I would kind of cover her with a little blanket, and we would sit on the couch and watch TV. And one of the TV shows that we were really binging hard at that time was Sopranos.
Okay.
Yeah, and totally would not be something my mom would be into. So you had brought that up and you said, your mom is there when you're watching TV, and you described our daughter like laying in that little nest with the blanket on top and all of that. And then I said, how does she feel about what we're watching? And you said immediately, it's not her cup of tea. It's way too much crime. It's like mafia stuff. Like she doesn't like
Oh my God.
it. And like, I mean, there's like so much violence and swearing, which is like all the things my mom was not into. So
Of
I was like,
course.
oh, she's gonna be like judging about this so hard because our newborn is just laying there hearing all this. But oh
That's
yeah.
funny. I love that she knew that too. That's just
Hmm.
incredible. I
Hmm.
love it. And
Hmm.
you know, after that too, I think you came to another group reading. There was one more, right? And I think that
Hmm.
one was the one in Clavette, the bigger
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just remember you coming in and I saw you before the reading started. I was like, oh my God, hi. Like I was so happy
Yeah.
that you came.
Yeah. That one was awesome too. I remember like you had read so many different people, and it was really cool because I was like, okay, I had never seen you do a reading that size, like before. They were like 20 people or 10 people. So for you to navigate like a 75 person reading, it was
Yeah.
so cool to see. Yeah, it was amazing. And there were so many people that came through that night too that you helped, right? That needed to connect with their loved ones. And I remember one person specifically was like really a big fan of like hanging out in the garage, and there was like lots of stuff around that. And like the person that you were speaking to was like a huge skeptic, and you could just see him starting to cry, and he was like, okay, like I believe now. Like,
I
okay,
know.
this person's here. It's awesome when you crack those ones, hey?
Those are my favorite. Those are the ones that, especially the men, because they like come in with their arms like, so tight to their bodies looking at me like, yeah, right. And I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
like I I'm not there to put on a show. I am just there to channel and to help. And sometimes those are the ones that are their loved ones are actually the strongest when that happens and they get these messages and they look at me like, and it's usually about 30 seconds and they just start sobbing. And I'm like, look, I'm so glad you came. You were supposed to come. And then they just become a huge believer after that because there's no way, right? There's just no
Hmm.
way that you could know or anybody
Hmm.
could know, right? And so, yeah, I love watching those ones where they come in with just this attitude of like, yeah, let's see what this is all about. And then they get the
Hmm.
best message and their lives change in that moment. And that's the greatest gift for me, especially as a medium to watch. And it's magical. It's hard to wrap my head around all of it. Even that night in Clavette, there were so many people that I did get to. I think there was like 35, I think we counted 35 to 37 people that I read for that night out of that group.
Oh, wow.
And I was so grateful to be able to deliver those messages because they were to the ones that were skeptical. And a lot of them were men. There was a lot of men that were getting these
There
messages.
were tons. Yes, tons.
Yeah, I remember looking around going, who brought all the guys? What are they here? This is shocking. And they were the ones that got the readings and they cried. A lot of them were
Hmm.
crying.
Hmm.
And it was very healing. And it just, it's one of the reasons why I love doing what I do because I know that it's hard to understand this entire realm, right? How do we wrap our heads around that when we lose someone that they can communicate so crystal clear? It's weird,
Hmm.
but if you have an experience with it, it is like being cracked wide open because you can't deny it. And then it helps to communicate for them to communicate with their loved ones when they know they can talk to them and they are being heard. They're not just talking to air, you know?
Hmm.
It's magical
Oh,
for
for
me.
sure. It is. It's totally magical on this end too, receiving that from you. Like just I feel like it's really hard when like especially losing someone that you're so close to really wrap your head around the fact that physically they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it really helps to know that like energetically and spiritually they are still here because I honestly don't think I would be able to cope with that fact if if they were just gone. It would just be impossible. But there's so many signs. Like that's the one thing I'll say too is there's always signs to look for. And one of the things you had said to me was like your mom said, "Oh, it's all butterflies and rainbows. Look for those." And the amount of times like of course you see butterflies and you see rainbows, but even the combination of the two
Yeah.
come to me at like specific times, like when I really need her. All
Oh.
of a sudden in a show or something, somebody will say something about, oh, butterflies and rainbows. I'm like, okay, like, thank you. I just asked you for something, and or like certain songs that remind me of her have specific meaning, like my phone will cut out in my vehicle and all of a sudden it's like the radio playing that song and I'm like, oh, what are the odds? Like, okay, like it's pretty cool. Or lights flickering. We have that happening in my house. There's one light specifically that keeps flickering at specific times that I feel like, hi.
Hmm.
I say hi and I acknowledge it and I say thank you. Like,
So
thanks
nice
for
that
that.
you're
I needed
here.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And well, going back to the one reading that I had with you on the phone after our daughter was born, another really cool thing was you were talking about a onesie and you described it. You're like, it's a light colored onesie, it's short sleeves, it has the buttons on the bottom, like, and it's very significant. She needs me to address this. And I like couldn't think of it at first. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it was a onesie that said what happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas.
Oh my God, that's cute.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's the one you're talking about.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
love it.
with, yeah. And in that same reading too, you had actually gone through, like, she took you to her and my dad's house and you walked through there. And because my mom was able to pass at home and, me and my brother were with her and we were able to be there for her. It was actually really as lovely as a passing can be. And, you talked about specific moments that only, you know, we would know, like in terms of when she passed and even specifics about the room. And you described it because it was her favorite room in the house. And you described it exactly how it was before and after. Like, you were like, okay, there's this a really nice wood table, and and you started laughing and you said, "Oh, there's doilies on the table. I haven't seen doilies forever." And yeah, sure enough, and her and my dad have this amazing cabinet that has a ton of different things from when they traveled, things that we made for her, and so you brought that stuff up. And then she talked about this box specifically of like Corningware that she never got to use. And I actually found it. It was like on the stairs going down to the basement. Or the basement isn't unfinished, so that's used for storage. But we found that box, and so me and my sister took it, and we each took one. So that we're making sure that we use that because she said, you have to get the Corningware. I'm like, okay,
Did she
sure.
really say that in your reading?
Yes,
That's crazy.
specifically the Corningware dish because it was really nice. It's this nice teal. I'm like, okay, Mom, I get it. Like, hey, you don't want that to go to waste. I understand. So,
That's
yeah.
that's
And she kept
wild.
saying, yeah, she kept saying to you, my house is not a cookie cutter house. It's not a cookie cutter house. There's like, and everything, like they've kept it the same, right? The same way. So, yeah, it was really cool for you to go there because so many of the ways that you described it were exactly how it is. And that's my childhood home too. So
Oh, I love
pretty
that.
cool.
And
Hmm.
talking about your dad here, can we share that when I saw you last, that I got to meet
Hmm.
him? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I
Thank
came
you.
out. When was I there last? I think in March, maybe, of
Yeah.
this year.
April. It was the day before his birthday.
Oh, was it? Okay. So
Hmm.
April,
Hmm.
I came out
Yeah.
and I did two group readings again out in Saskatchewan and a little bit further out from where you live. But I came into Saskatoon just for the day to do private readings. And had posted about it on Instagram that I was going to be there. And I think you wrote me and said, I'll take a day or take an hour. I mean,
Of course, I was all over that. And especially because I've been trying to convince my dad for so long. And actually, in that last telephone reading that you and I had, Mom said, "Get Dad here." And
oh, wow.
and
Okay. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then you had told me, I think it's your mom. She's trying to bring me back to Saskatchewan because before you even came back, you said like I have a really big pull to come back there. And so
Hmm.
I said, okay, I'm gonna work on my dad. And so yeah,
Yeah.
we came and met you at I think it was one of your students' houses, right? That
Yeah. I was
you
working
did
at,
the reading in?
yep, I was working at her house for the day. She was so gracious and let me work out of there for the entire afternoon.
Yeah.
And you walked in with your dad, and oh, my heart melted. And when he sat down with me and your mom came through for him, it was very different than it was like for me reading for you because they had such an incredible love, and their love story is one that I hope you share someday in a book or however you've got to get that out. Because I sat there with your father and I was like, this is what everybody strives for is this kind of love. Like they were smitten with each other right till the very end.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just, I don't even have words. It was just so special. I've never seen
Hmm.
anything like that.
Yeah. And have always said that my whole life, like their relationship and how long they were together and everything is just like what people strive for when it comes to marriage, right? So it was amazing. I remember in that reading, she came through right away, and you had brought up like specific pictures. And then I sent you the pictures afterwards because I was like, I know exactly which pictures those are.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then you had talked too about like kind of back to when they met and like what the street looked like in the smaller town that they grew up in, and kind of went through their love story and their stuff that really like nobody else would have known. And I think there's even things that I probably didn't even know. And I don't have those notes because I took notes from my dad and he has them and reads them.
Oh, that's so
Um,
sweet.
yeah, because I just wanted to make sure that he could remember all the details too. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just make some notes here so that you can reread them if you're ever missing her, because there was, a lot that she said to him and it was really beautiful. And so I was happy that he was open to it. And he, when we got in the car, he's like, well, she's the real deal.
Is that what he said? I hugged him so
Yeah,
tight. I was like, I
yeah.
just love you so much. Like you know why I think I felt so drawn to him and when I was reading for him and giving him these messages, the way that he spoke about your mom, I just I don't know. I guess don't we all want that, Like he was just telling us like in the beginning when they first met, he's like she was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen, and he was
Yeah.
just going on and on about her like she was on a pedestal for him. And it was beautiful to channel for him. I think watching his face as I would say something and it would just kind of like it took a minute for it to register because I think he looked at me like, "How could you know that?" You
Hmm.
know? And then it was like, "Well, yes, that's the ring I had or the outfit she wore, or whatever that was." And it was awesome. I really enjoyed sitting in his energy because he's so sweet and so loving. And that's why when you guys were leaving, I'm like, I just hugged him so tight. And I was like, I'm never going to forget you because he just has so much love in his soul.
Hmm. He's always been an incredible man, and he is the best dad. And we were so lucky to have him and my mom as our parents and to see, again, like how they were together.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been definitely hard on him since she passed because it's just, they were together since I think she was 15 and he was 18, and then they got married
Yeah.
shortly after that. And yeah, that's a long time, to be together and then to all of a sudden have that person gone. But I keep telling him, like, one of the things you had said was she was like, get outside more, keep walking, like you got to keep it up. So I always say to him, like, what would mom say? And then I'm like, wait, what did mom say? Because this is
Yeah.
exactly what she said to you. So no excuses. Let's go outside. Let's, enjoy the fresh air. And we they have a really beautiful backyard that my mom spent a lot of time in, like beautiful garden tending to her flowers. So I go over there often and do the yard work and stuff, and my brother too. And um, I always feel really connected to her out there. But there's lots of chickadees, and we always called them Hey Judies, just the way that they, their little chirp or whatever sounds like they're saying Hey Judy. And so
Oh,
we always say, oh, there's lots of Hey Judies in the backyard today. Like mom's here.
uh, and like,
Yeah.
does he feel a little bit more connected to her now that he had that reading? Like, does he feel her there? Does he get the signs? Does he go
I
outside and
think so.
feel her?
Yeah, I think he does. Like compared to before, so right after she passed, I think he was getting quite a few signs, and we had talked a lot about looking for the signs, and then he kind of felt like they had kind of gone away, or he was like worried that she wasn't as around. And then after connecting with you again, and you said like sometimes if you're like really focused on the signs and you're asking for the signs, they don't always come, right? But if you just kind of let things be,
Hmm.
that people will start to show up again. So he'll say certain things. Like I know there was a while there where like when they had their Christmas tree up, the lights would like go on and off just like out of nowhere. And things like that were pretty cool. Or like if we're outside, if a butterfly just randomly comes and lands on him, and I'm like, hey, look, like,
That's
you
it.
know,
There's your
yeah,
sign.
there she is. Like she's here. So yeah,
Ah,
definitely. I think it helped to, I think he believed, but like maybe not to the extent that he did after the reading once he talked to you, if that makes sense.
it definitely makes sense because, and that's what I was saying. Like, I would look at him and he would kind of like sit for a minute and like let it process. I could see it in his face that he was trying to understand, like, how is it that this girl knows this? How is this possible? And then it would take him a little bit, and then he'd go, well, yeah, that was the street that we were on, or that was the dress she wore. And I think it was kind of like surreal, like how is this possible? And
Hmm.
I knew that it was going to take him maybe days, weeks to kind of really sit with it and understand that I don't know anything about, well, there was a lot of very personal things about their marriage. So I think that's what, helped him to really understand that she really was sitting with us and she was telling me these things so that she could have that conversation with him. And she just wanted to get to him and tell him how much she loves him too, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it was really cool to see. And again, kind of like just sitting back and being able to be a part of that and seeing how she connected with him. And then she had said in the reading, I am here talking to him, but I just want you to know, like, I'm here for you too. And I see everything with your daughter, and I know she sees me too. And that's one of the things you had said to me before, is that she would see my mom. And,
Mhm.
you had brought up specifics about, like, oh, hey, when you're feeding her and she's kind of looking over your shoulder giggling, that's your mom. And she's there. And that, I mean, that happens, like, that was just happening before that reading. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
So amazing what they can do. Like, again, I'm
Hmm.
so glad that you even wanted to share your story. I know sometimes that it's very personal. Like, it's hard to come out and just open up to the world and say, hey, this is what I've experienced, and talking about your loved ones that you have lost. It's not exactly easy, but it's so helpful for others to hear other people's stories, right? So that I think it's just so many people really feel that they're just gone. And ever since I was a little girl, I knew that they weren't gone. So I never felt alone and I never feared death ever. I never feared death. I never
Hmm.
feared what happens to us when we're gone because I always knew I could see where they went. So as soon as someone would pass away that I knew, I would see them like right away, like within a day, sometimes 3 days. I don't know. They just would show up. And I thought, does no one else see these people? Like, is it just me?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but I find that there's so much comfort in knowing that they are very much alive in a different realm.
Hmm. That's so huge, because I actually felt like very afraid of death and dying in the past. And ever since we've connected and I've had these experiences, like, I don't fear it at all anymore. And that was actually one of the things I wanted to ask you. Like, do you have people come to you often that you know that have passed, or is it usually other people's loved ones?
Ooh, that's a good question. I do have a lot of people that have passed. My father, my father-in-law, my sister-in-law, Nick's grandparents, my grandparents. There's so many people. And right after they pass, I usually see them for quite a while, but it's different for me because I know them. And so I have to try to decipher, is that a memory for me or is that an actual visit? And so it makes it tricky. I think I do get visits a lot from people I know, but I have to really sit with it and be like, okay, wait a second, is that my memory or are you actually with me? So here's a quick little story. So my Reiki master that really came in and helped me to save my life, he was incredible. I always say he saved me in so many ways, but he passed, I want to say now it's been like 3 years. And right before he passed, the day before, I was sitting in my healing room and I had just finished with a client and I was sitting there and I could smell him. And all of a sudden I had this visualization of hugging him. But when I hugged him, it was so real, Bree. Like I could smell him. I could feel like he's this big burly guy with like really big hands, and I could feel his hands on my back. And it was just such a nice memory for what I thought was a memory. And so I was like, oh, that was so awesome. Maybe I should reach out and call him or text him. I haven't talked to him in a few weeks. And the very next day, I found out that he had passed. And so that was not. a memory, that was a visit. And because with the time frame, like he was in New Zealand, and so the timing was that exact moment. Yeah.
Oh
So,
my gosh, you're I have goosebumps now. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry
right.
for your loss.
Oh, I
That's
loved him
wow.
so much. Oh my God. He was just the brightest light in my life and helped me along this entire journey. I wouldn't be the medium that I am today without him. And for him to show up like that and oh gosh, I just remember that hug. There was nothing like it. It was like, when you go in for a hug and he was like 6 foot, like one or something, or 6'3", he was huge. And I'm so short. And so when I would go to hug him, he would just like take me all in and just like hang on to me with these big arms. And I felt very safe. And I felt that in that moment. And I was like, oh, well, that was such a nice memory. And when I found out he passed, I was just sobbing. I was like, if I had known that that was a visit, I would have let it last longer or talked to him. Like
Oh,
I was quite upset. Um, I was really upset actually because I felt like I had him in that moment and I wasted it, but I didn't know. So.
yeah, how are you to know? And I'm sure he'll come back.
Yeah, he's shown up quite a few times, but not like that. Like I will see him and
Mm.
I'll feel him there and I'll hear him laugh or it's different. It's a quick visit where that one felt like it was in person.
Oh,
I don't know how to explain it other than it was so real and I could smell him. I could feel his energy. It was like nothing I've had. So, yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if
and
I've ever shared that really, but yeah, it was hard.
oh, well, thank you for sharing that. Do you feel like he came through so vivid and gave you such a big hug because he just wanted you to know, like, I'm crossing over and I'm okay? Like, do you think that that's
I think
why he came
so.
through so
Yeah.
strong?
I think,
Mm.
when they did the funeral over in New Zealand, we had sent some videos and some photos of us, like some of the students and whatnot. And we got to live stream his funeral. And I think he was really just showing me, I don't know about any of the other students, but I think he was showing me that he was still going to be there for me, even though he was gone because he was such an important man in my life that I don't trust a lot of men besides my husband and my brothers. But
Mhm.
I trusted him with everything that I had. And on my darkest days when I was giving up, he helped me to live. And so for him to show up was very, very special for me. I think he just wanted me to know that he was still going to be able to be with me no matter what. Yeah, God, I miss him so much.
Oh,
It's awful. I just miss him
oh.
so much. I know he's there, and I say this to everybody I could talk to him, but it's harder for me as a medium to connect and have that conversation with him than I can do for you. Like I can read for you and it's
Mhm.
easy, but for me, I have to work so hard to hear them because I have to, like I
Mhm.
said, see if it's a memory or not. Yeah, it's tough. It's really
Mhm.
tough.
Well,
Yeah.
what you said makes total sense when you think about it, you know, how everything kind of comes through to you and trying to really decipher, is this something that I already know and it's a memory, or is this like a visit? It's, yeah, that would be tough. I can't even imagine
Yeah, it
how
is
tough that would
tough.
be.
It is tough.
How,
But what were you going to
do
say?
you go? Oh, I was just going to ask you if you have, like, do you go to mediums often yourself to get your own readings?
Well, that's another great question. I do not. I went to many in the beginning, like when I first started this spiritual journey, probably about 12, 13 years ago now. And I did start to go seek mediums. Durek was a medium and a Reiki master, and that's how I ended up where I am today. But at the time, I was seeing all these people, and I saw some really great ones like Durek, who's incredible. But I saw some people that were just not so great. And so I really struggled with trying myself to not be skeptical about. I knew that the other side existed, but I had a hard time believing the people that I had gone to see, maybe if that makes sense. And so
Mm-hmm.
ever since then, actually really ever since Durek, I can't remember if I've ever had a solid reading since then, or I don't think I've gone to anybody since Dirk, maybe to like some of my friends, like my girlfriend in Maui, and there's some students of mine that I trust for readings that way, but not going to a medium that doesn't know anything about me or who I am for to just sit down and have a reading. So no, not since Dirk, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah, and I guess I have such a strong connection to my spirit guides that when I need guidance, I check in with them and I try to my best to listen to them. And I'm so fortunate to have the most incredible students that I trust, and I can lean on them and ask them for psychic advice too, and a couple of very good girlfriends who are psychic. So, but not a solid reading. Yeah. I don't know why.
That, well, I think that makes sense. I think the way you explained it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's hard to think like I'm sure I could have, amazing conversations with my loved ones, but they always seem to pop in for in classes that I teach and stuff with the students. So I'll get like a little snippet of something and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm good. I know they're there and yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
No, it does. I just wish that you could have that gift to you that you give to other people, if that makes sense.
That's a good point. I would actually really like that. Maybe it's time for me to see a medium. I don't know. I would love to hear from there's quite a few people actually I would love to hear from and see. It would actually be neat to go to someone who doesn't know anything about me. And
Yeah,
maybe I'll
that
set
would be
something
great.
up and then we can do a podcast episode and talk about it because
Yeah,
who
I
knows
want to
what will
hear
come
all
up,
about it.
right? I don't know
I
what would
feel like
happen. Mhm.
I don't know why I just asked you that, but I just feel like it's something that you deserve, that you deserve a really good reading and a gift like you give other people.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm gonna ask Spirit to guide me to who I need to go to.
Yeah,
I
yes.
because everybody I know knows I know them, right? And so I need to find
Hmm.
someone who has zero idea about who I've lost and things like that. Not again
Hmm.
because I'm skeptical. I just think it's so much more difficult, right? Because even when I do readings, I like to have a clean slate. I like to know only someone's first name and maybe their phone number. That's it. That's easier for
Hmm.
me than someone who says, "Oh, this is, my friend and they've lost this person and this person." And they tell me all this stuff. And I'm like, no, it's easier if I know nothing. It's just like takes away the pressure and it's effortless because I just go, okay,
Hmm.
this is who's here for you. This is what you need to know. I have to do a bit more work to push a lot of things aside that I already know about someone to do the reading for a client or whatever that has given me some information. It's just trickier. That makes sense?
Well, yeah, no, it does totally. And I think too, like if you know who a person's expecting to hear from or hoping to hear from, it does place pressure when it's, maybe three other people that are coming through. Like I remember one of your group readings, you had brought up somebody and they were like, pass. Like, I don't want to hear from that person. And you were like,
That's
hey,
right.
I can never tell. And then, somebody else came through and then I remember they said to you, what about, is there anybody else? And so it was funny because there was two people trying to come through with messages, but they were like, no,
That's not
I'm
who I
good
want
on
to talk
that.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. We can skip along past that
There's
person.
there was one reading I did. You weren't there. It was the night before Clavette. It was in Strasbourg, and there was a lady there who I was trying to read for, and her father had come in, and she just turned her back and was like, puts her hand up in the air and goes, "Nope." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what to do here." And so I kind of had to get a little bit feisty, which I'm not usually feisty, but I said, look, he's not going anywhere. He's driving me crazy. I have to get this message out to you. I can't pass on this. I can't say no to him. Like you need to hear this. And yes, it ended up being exactly what she needed to hear. Her and her sister came to me after crying and they were like hugging and it was a lot. It was very emotional, but I said, I'm not here to be mean or like force you to do something, but if I have someone with me that needs to get the message out to you, I can't help it. I have to keep going. I could
Hmm.
say no, but I knew in that moment that he wasn't wanting me to. He needed to tell her what she needed to hear. And those are the things that we can't always control. People like sometimes I'll have someone's ex-mother-in-law come in and they're like, "Oh my God, why is she here?" And I'm like, "Because there's a message for you. Can I just let her tell you and then we can move her aside?" So
Mhm.
it's never what people want, it's what they need all the time.
Yeah, well, totally. Well, and I remember too in one of the readings when somebody had said like, maybe not that person. And I think it was, I forget if it was like a lump in your throat or like shortness of breath or something that you were experiencing, and you were like, it's still here. Like we gotta like keep, like I need to, because you were like really physically feeling what that person had passed from, I think it was.
Yep, that happens all the time. And it won't go away until I acknowledge it with the person. Just won't. I'll be in pain or I will be like coughing or something and I'm like, "Okay, we have to get this. You need to acknowledge this because they're not going to leave me alone." And
Hmm.
sometimes too, people have what I call psychic amnesia. They're like, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who that is." And then later they'll come to me at the end of the event and they'll say, "Oh my God, Karina, I know who that was." And I'm like, "I'm sorry they tried, but you just had a blank. It happens. It's happened to
Hmm.
me in group readings when I've gone." I think a lot of people just get so afraid too to speak up. Like maybe it's not my loved one and they do start drawing a blank like, "No, that's got to be for somebody else." And if nobody gets it and I'm sitting there like in pain and I'm like, "Look, I'm having this physical symptom, like this feels like it's for somebody in the audience, like I have to get this out." And I'll kind of get drawn to someone and I'm like, "It has to be for someone right here." And then they'll go, "Oh, well, oh, I think it's my, dad or something." And I'm like, "Oh, thank God." And then I can take a sigh of relief. And then all of a sudden I start to feel better. And yeah, then the messages get out to who it needs to go to. So it's crazy. This whole thing is just wild. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it still. And I'm not sure I'll ever truly understand it or get used to it.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Every
I love
time
it.
my mind is blown, and I love it.
Really, I love it. I love that you keep coming to all the groups that I do as well. Like when I come out there, I am coming back, by the way.
Oh, perfect.
So
I'll be
I'll
there.
perfect. I'm going to post on Instagram and Facebook the dates, and then I'm going to set up a couple days for privates again as well, and a few mini groups. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today on the Divine Messages podcast. And Bree, thank you so much for coming on here with me today and sharing your journey with everyone. I know this wasn't easy, but I'm grateful that you decided to take a chance and come on a podcast and let it be shared with the world.
Well, thanks for having me. It was lots of fun, and I always love chatting with you. So I'm really excited to see you again.
If you would like to book a reading with me, I can be reached at www.divinemessages.ca or on Instagram at divinemessages333 or at the Divine Messages podcast. Please bear in mind that the perspectives and opinions represented in this podcast are based solely on the Divine Messages interpretations. We can in no way be held responsible for the actions of our followers.